What's up, YouTube family, and what's up, sports fans? It's your boy Chris with Drop Balls Podcast, back again with another YouTube video. So while you're here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button one time for your boy, as well as ring that bell, so that way when I drop a new video, you all get the notifications. And if you like listening to podcasts, be sure to tune in every Tuesday to Drop Balls Podcast. It is available on every major podcast platform. So be sure to tune in one time for your boy. And, leave your boy that 5-star rating on, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or whatever, leave your boy that 5-star rating, like, share, comment, all of the above, and follow your boy on Twitter at DropBallsPod. I'm on there every day, talking sports, having conversations, whatever it may be, talking shit, all of the above. Come on, follow your boy one time. But I came here to talk to you all today about the Seattle Seahawks and some of the signings that they've made that I actually really like. Now, everybody who knows me knows I'm not a Seattle Seahawks fan. I'm up here in Seattle, been here for the past 6 years, and I'm just not a fan. They know I talk shit about Seattle all the time, and I just never been a fan. But I came, and I'm keeping an open mind about how they're putting together their offseason. Now, Russell Wilson came out and said that, he was mad about pretty much not being protected. He's been taking too many hits. Some of it's been his fault. Some of it's been the O-line fault. But he's saying that he needs more protection. So the Seahawks addressed this by going and signing a corner and I believe a defensive end. At first, that's what I thought it looked like. Like, okay, we're not going to give you what you want. Then the whole trade talks and all of that other stuff started happening. But then the Seahawks made a trade to the Oakland Raiders. They traded a 2021 fifth-round draft pick to the Las Vegas Raiders. They're no longer Oakland. Las Vegas Raiders to get Gabe Jackson. Now, Gabe Jackson has been in the league 7 years. He's only given up 13 sacks in the past 7 years. Over the past 2 years, he's only given up 5. He gave up goose egg last year, playing 16 games for the Las Vegas Raiders. Gave up no sacks. And the year before, I believe he gave up 5 playing for the Vegas Raiders. Now, what's interesting about this is that over the past 2 years, the Raiders have only given up 55 sacks. Now, if you think that is a lot, let's take a look at Carson Wentz getting sacked 50 times just last year in 14 games. Now, let's take a look at Russell Wilson. Over the past 2 years, he's been sacked 95 times over the past 2 years. So you get an offensive lineman from one that was a pivotal piece of that Vegas offensive line that just didn't give up sacks, that protected the quarterback. And so that's going to be huge for the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson, especially after Mikey Potty retired and Chance Warmack pretty much they let walk. So that's huge for Seattle. Now I think they just need to address the right tackle position in the draft. They have 3 picks. They have a 2nd-round pick, a 4th-round pick, and I believe a 6th or a 7th-round pick. And so they can address that offensive tackle spot in the draft with the 2nd-round pick or maybe even the 4th-round pick. Who knows? But I think that'll be big for Seattle. Not only that, they add Chris Carson back to that offense, who I believe is a great addition to the offense, but he has to stay healthy. I believe if he can stay healthy, he's a top running back in the NFL, if he can stay healthy. So hopefully he stays healthy over these next 2 years. They signed him to a 2-year contract. So hopefully he can stay healthy. They have a stable of running back, so there's no reason that they have to run him into the dirt like Seattle likes to do, and keep Chris Carson healthy. They also bring who else did they bring back? They brought back Benson Mayor to that defensive line. Now, Benson had 6 sacks last year, played defensive end, and I believe that is great that they bring him back because he's familiar with the system and he can play in it. And he showed that he can produce at a decent level last year. They also go and get the former 49er, Kerry Hyder. They bring him in on the defensive line as well. Now, he had 8.5 sacks. He only started 14 games because he was Nick Bosa's backup. So he came in, started 14 games, and it helps when you have a Reek Armstead on the other side of you, the other side of the line. But he had 8.5 sacks, and he's also familiar with the Seattle Seahawks defense because he played under Robert Saleh. Now, if anybody knows who Robert Saleh is, he was the defensive coordinator with the 49ers, and now he's the head coach of the New York Jets. And he used to be up here in Seattle as not a coordinator, but I believe linebackers coach or something like that with the Seattle Seahawks. And so he's familiar with the Seattle defense, and that's the same defense he ran in San Francisco, which is why Richard Sherman could go there and have such success as he did when he was healthy. They also go and get Ahkello Witherspoon, who's another player who's familiar with the Seahawks defense just because he played under Robert Saleh in San Francisco. And he plays corner. He's 6'3", 190 pounds, runs a 4.4. So he's long and lanky, just like Pete Carroll likes his corners. If you look at Richard Sherman, Brandon Browner, you look at Trey Flowers. The only one that really wasn't like that was Shaquille Griffin. He wasn't short, but he was like, he wasn't a tall, lanky corner like Pete Carroll usually has. But they go get Ahkello Witherspoon. They sign him to a 1-year deal, $4 million, which is significantly cheaper than what Shaquille Griffin got from the Jacksonville Jaguars. What was it, 3 years, $40 million? So he's averaging $13.3 million a year. Especially when Ahkello Witherspoon is probably a slightly better corner than Shaquille Griffin. Now, Witherspoon is very inconsistent, but still in his inconsistencies, he's been better than Shaquille Griffin. And if we look at the numbers, I know stats don't tell everything, but when you look at the numbers, Ahkello Witherspoon has given up, I think it was 113 receptions on 201 targets, which is only about 56% completion percentage. On the other hand, you have Shaq Griffin, who's given up 181 receptions on 301 targets. So that's 60% completion percentage. So you get a slightly better corner for cheaper with Witherspoon. They've both been in the league 4 years. I think over Shaq's career, he has 6 interceptions, and over Witherspoon's career, he has 4 and a touchdown. So slightly better. In Shaq's 6 interceptions, 3 of those came last year. Ahkello has 4, and he only had 1 interception last year. So I think that was a great addition to that defense. Although he is inconsistent, I believe Pete Carroll can get him where he needs to be. Now, I don't know what they're going to do with the other cornerback position because Dunbar is gone, which I also thought that was a dumb trade when they traded Washington for him, and I was proved right on that. But they still have Trey Flowers, which I don't really believe in. But I've read somewhere that Richard Sherman isn't against returning to Seattle. So they maybe bring Richard Sherman back in, and maybe I don't know if money will be an issue. I don't know if Sherman's willing to take a pay cut. Also, I think Sherman should switch to safety. Now, Seattle don't need help at safety because they got Diggs, and they have Quandre Diggs, and they have Jamal Adams. So I don't think that's really an issue, but I don't know. I mean, maybe they turn Jamal Adams to an outside backer because Jamal Adams played down on the line a hell of a lot last year. He led the team in sacks with 9.5. So I think that's why they went and got Kerry Hyder and brought back Benson Mayor because they need that defensive line to actually progress and produce. Now, I don't know if they bring back Carlos Dunlap. We'll see. But if Richard Sherman comes, maybe he starts opposite of Ahkello Witherspoon, and maybe they move Trey Flowers back to the slot or whatever. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Another person that they brought in was Gerald Everett, a tight end that is very familiar with the new offensive coordinator's offensive scheme. Shane, I believe his name is Shane Waldron. He's very familiar with Shane's offensive scheme because he played in his offensive scheme with the LA Rams. Shane Waldron was the offensive coordinator in LA last year, and so he comes up to Seattle. And now they have Gerald Everett, who I believe is a very good tight end, especially if he's the featured tight end. Now, this is a tight end that I wanted Indy to go get because we need tight end help. So I don't know if we get Zach Ertz or what we do, but I know all we have right now is Mo Alley Cox. And I believe if we would have got Gerald Everett, that would have been a perfect piece. Now, we know that teams are going to zone in on DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So this is going to give Gerald Everett a lot of opportunity, especially because I don't really believe too much in Will Dissly, and Jacob Hollister is gone. So Will Dissly, he's always hurt, never really on the field. Greg Olsen is gone. He retired. So now Gerald Everett, I believe this is his position to lose. But he's very athletic. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He can run block. And he knows the system that he's going to be in. So I think this was a great addition, a great weapon for Russell Wilson. And we're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how this team looks I think you're going to see a significantly different team than what we saw last year. Even though they went 12-4, they didn't have a bad season, but it was a lot of up and down, a lot of inconsistencies. And I think we're going to see a way different team than we saw last year. Last year, offense was popping the first half of the season. Then defense was popping the second half of the season. And defense was like the worst ever in the first half. And then they was killing it in the second half, but offense was lagging behind in the second half of the season. So as long as they can be more consistent and they can peak at the same time, we're going to see a lot different, a lot better Seattle Seahawks team than what we saw last year that went 12-4. Now, another team I wanted to talk about was the New York Jets. I posted a video the other day on why I thought the New York Jets position was the most intriguing position this offseason for a new head coach. But today, they go and they add a running back, which I said they need to fix that offensive line, and they need to add some sort of a running game, something Sam Darnold has never had in his career with the New York Jets. They go add Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman, I believe, can be a very good running back in the New York Jets system as long as he can stay on the field. Last year, he was riddled with injuries. And then over the past 2 seasons, he had to share the backfield with Raheem Mostert and Matt Breida over there in San Francisco. But he's another guy that came from San Francisco along with Robert Saleh. Now, he adds a dynamic to that offense where he can catch the ball out the backfield. He can tote the rock. He can do everything you ask him for or ask from him in the running back position. And his lone season that he was the featured back with the Atlanta Falcons, I believe it was 2018, he racked up 800 rushing yards. He had 250 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. He had 4 rushing touchdowns as the featured back, and he averaged like 4-point-something yards a carry. Over his career, he has averaged 4.2 yards a carry. So as long as he can stay healthy, I believe this significantly helps out the New York Jets offense and takes a little bit of pressure off of the quarterback, whether it's Sam Darnold or whether they get a rookie in the draft with the 2nd overall pick, whether that's Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, is left to be seen. We'll know something by the end of April when the draft happens. But that's all I have for you all today, man. Go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section. Like the video. Let me know what you all thought about, the Seattle signings and free agency and the trade. Let me know what you think about the addition of Tevin Coleman to the New York Jets. And make sure to follow your boy on Twitter at DropBallsPod. See the link right here. Or not the link, but see the Twitter handle right here. And I will put the link down in the description. But make sure you follow your boy. Go listen to Drop Balls Podcast. The link will also be in the description for you for that as well. And until next time, peace.